Hello, this video is about unfinished business. Let's start with what the unfinished business is. It is an imperfection, or you can also call it a failed auction. You probably know it by the name of failed auction. Now, if you look at those footprints in here, then this footprint, and this one show successful auction. You can tell that there is 0 at bid on high, in here, in here, in here, and that there is 0 at ask at the low, in here, and in here. You know, when the prices change, when markets move, this is basically a never-ending auction, alright? When the price goes upwards, then it turns and goes downwards. It means that there are no buyers willing to buy for higher prices, so the price turns and goes downwards. Then, at this place, there are no sellers willing to sell for lower prices, so the price turns again and goes upwards. This is how market moves, and this is why there's always 0 at those places, at those lows on ask, and at the highs there are zeros on bid. Now let's have a look at this footprint. In here there is 14 contracts traded on bid and 29 on ask. So if this was a successful auction, this would need to be 0 and 29, but there's the 14. So this is failed auction. In here the buyers were willing to buy for higher prices, but the price turned and went downwards. And this is sort of weird. This is sort of like if you went for an auction and you wanted to buy a house, and there were 50 people willing to buy for 1 million, then 20 people willing to buy for 2 million, 2 people willing to buy for 4 million, but then there wouldn't be the one winner who would buy the house, let's say, for 7 million, but suddenly the auction would close. That would be weird, right? It would be weird because there wouldn't be the one last buyer to win the auction and buy the house. And this is exactly the same scenario. Only difference is that market is never-ending auction. It goes up and down all the time. It never ends. Like if you are buying a house, the auction just stops when there is last buyer and this one gets the house. But this is a weird scenario because the buyers wanted to buy for higher prices, but the price turned and went downwards. So this is why it is an imperfection and why it is called unfinished business or failed auction. Now what the software which I developed does for you is that it prints a line, this green line in here, at places with unfinished business. You only need to go to settings, there's unfinished business setting, and you need to tick this, detect unfinished businesses. Alright, if you tick this, then the program will automatically print a line like this, green or red, and this line will show until it is tested, until the price tests the unfinished business. So now you know what the unfinished business is, that it is an imperfection, you know where to turn it on, and now I'll show you how to use that in your trading. First thing, this works as a magnet. This is an imperfection, and the market tends to deal with that imperfection. So in this case there is an imperfection in here, so the market will likely test this area and create a successful auction in here. So it works as a magnet. This works as a magnet. Price is likely to test it. Price is likely to return to it. But there's one important thing. The price can move away a lot from that area. So maybe you already had an idea then when you see the unfinished business in here, the price goes away, you immediately go long because it should work as a magnet. No, the price can move away quite a lot. So this is not really a good trading strategy. I know that some people trade it, but it's very risky. How you can use it is as a take profit. So let's say that there was some trading signal in here. Let's say that there was a support based on volume profile or order flow. You went long from there, and you know that this will work as a magnet, that the price will most likely return to this price level. So you can use it as a take profit, one tick above it, right? Because if the price goes one tick above it, it will create a successful auction out of the failed auction, out of the unfinished business. So this is one way how you can use it. Now you can use it also as a confirmation. Imagine there's an uptrend. Then this is a pullback. This is what you see in here, those footprints. This is a pullback. And let's say that there's a support in here. Now you have this support created inside the uptrend, and you are not sure if you want to go long from this support or no. Maybe this support doesn't seem that strong, or you are not really sure about it, but you see the unfinished business in here. And this is very nice confirmation of the trading idea to go long from this support, because it should work as a magnet. The price should get back to it, and if there is a support in here, it's a good idea to enter long from there and quit your trade one tick above this unfinished business. All right, so that's the confirmation. Another way how you can use it is sort of warning against bad trades. Imagine that there was, for example, some uptrend like this, and you are thinking about going long from a support in here. Let's say that there were, for example, heavy volumes in here, so it should work as a support. You would go long from if there was a pullback. But if you saw that in here there was unfinished business in here below the support, then it is a warning that going long from the support would be risky, because the unfinished business or the failed auction would work as a magnet, which could result in the price shooting past the support towards the magnet, creating successful auction. All right, so you can also use it like that. And one more thing, it's a bit similar. Don't place your stop loss at the unfinished business. Don't place your stop loss in here. If you are, for example, short from this area, then don't place your stop loss in here, because it works as a magnet and the price will tend to test this area again, which would result in you taking a losing trade. It would trigger your stop loss. All right, so those are ways how you can use it. The main idea behind this, which you always need to keep in mind, is that unfinished business is a magnet. That's the most important thing you should always remember. All right, so let's move on a bit. The unfinished business is not a standalone setup. As I said, it helps in trading decisions. It can, for example, help to decide whether to stay in a trade. So imagine you are in a long, there's a pullback, and you're not sure whether to quit your long in here, but there's failed auction in here, so you know that it should work as a magnet, so the price will most likely go upwards again, test this magnet, test this unfinished business, create a successful auction, and possibly continue upwards. So it can help in decision making. As I already said, it can also help decide where to quit your trade. So it can help to decide where to place your take profit and also where the price is likely to go. All right. All this is based on the fact that the unfinished business works as a magnet. This can be used on any market, but it can't be decentralized. So you can't use it on Forex, but apart from that, you can use it on any centralized market. And you can also use it on any time frame. What I prefer is 5-minute time frame and 30-minute time frame. Alright, so that's for the theory. Let's now jump into some examples. Those should make it way more clear. Now this is Euro futures, 5-minute chart. This is exactly what I was talking about. There's an uptrend. Then there is a pullback. So let's say that you're not sure whether to quit your trade. You're not sure if the trend is not over yet, but then you see that there is this green line, there is the unfinished business in here. So it's pretty likely that the price will test this area again because it will work as a magnet. This unfinished business in here will work as a magnet. So you should remain in the long at least until here, until this place. You can stay longer, especially if you see those crazy buying imbalances. Now that's something. But at least it should tell you that the uptrend is not over yet, that the price will most likely return at least to this price level to test the unfinished business. Now, next example, also Euro futures, 5-minute chart. In here there was sort of rotation and there was unfinished business in here, so there is the red dotted line, and as you can see the price tested it quite soon, one tick below, and then went upwards again. It worked as a magnet. Now in here, this is also the same chart, Euro futures 5-minute chart. The price was slowly progressing upwards, but created unfinished business in here, which means sellers wanted to sell for lower prices, but still the price went upwards, which is weird. It's really weird. So it worked as a magnet. The price went back into this area, and right there it tested the unfinished business. And as you can see, this also started a downtrend. In other words, it would be pretty risky to hold longs when you have this at the bottom. Alright? It's risky to go long when there is the unfinished business in here. Now in this example, also the same chart, price goes downwards, then there is a pullback, and you're not sure whether to quit the trade or no, but there is the unfinished business, so you know that the price will at least test this area again. So if you are in a short trade, you may want to quit your trade in here or to remain longer in a short. because of the unfinished business. Alright? Again, it worked as a magnet. In this case, it only took 10 minutes before the price tested this area again and created a successful auction out of this unfinished business. Now, in this example, there was sort of rejection of lower prices, and at the bottom of this rejection, there was this unfinished business. The price went upwards from there, but eventually the market turned and tested this area. Again, it worked as a magnet. It didn't take too long for the price to return back. It was not even 2 hours and the unfinished business was dealt with. Now in here you can see the market covering those unfinished businesses pretty effectively. There's one in here. This is where it gets covered. Also one in here, and this is where it gets covered. Alright, it's working as a magnet. The price returns to it. In this example, there are 4 unfinished businesses. If we start from left, then there's this one, which gets tested probably somewhere in the future. Then there's this one. It gets covered in here. Then this one gets covered in 10 minutes, pretty fast. And also this one, which got covered immediately, so I wouldn't really call it an unfinished business, because this is just where another candle started and the price just covered that unfinished business. Alright, so as you can see, those unfinished businesses are working nicely as magnets. The price tends to return to them. In here, there was a buying activity, then a pullback. And let's say that you had, for example, a support in here. You were not sure whether to enter a long from there or no. Let's say that you were not so sure about the support. Let's say that the support were those imbalances, those buying imbalances. But they are not stacked. They are not stacked imbalances, so the signal is not so strong. But given the fact that there is the failed auction in here, the unfinished business in here, it should work as a magnet. So the chances are higher that the price will react to those imbalances, and then the magnet will help you in your long. Alright? This should be the take profit. 1 tick above the unfinished business. Now imagine you are in a long position in here, then there is a pullback, you're not sure whether to quit your trade or no, but there is this unfinished business. This line should work as a magnet, so you stay in the long, the price turns, then creates those nice buying imbalances, and in case like that, I would stay in the trade. I would not quit it 1 tick above the unfinished business. I would hold it until I would see some signal to quit the trade. So I would hold it, and the signal could be, for example, unfinished business in here. As you can see, worked as a magnet. It could also be the negative delta in here in this footprint. Now another example. There is this rejection of higher prices, then this is a strong sell-off. You see those imbalances, aggressive sellers pushing the price downwards. Then the high volume node is in here, which is a nice resistance zone. Let's say you're not really sure if you want to enter short from this area, but you see that there is a magnet. There is unfinished business at low of this footprint. So what it tells you is that it will most likely work as a magnet, right? This level should work as a magnet. So this should push you over the edge and tell you that you should go short from there, from this high volume node, enter a short, and in this case I wouldn't liquid it one tick below the unfinished business. I would hold it because of this, because of the selling imbalances. This is strong selling pressure pushing the price aggressively downwards. So I would hold the trade, alright? I would hold the short. Now in here, you can notice this unfinished business. Let's say that there's a downtrend and you are in a short position. Now this tells you not to get crazy with your shorts, because it will most likely work as a magnet and the price could turn and test this zone again sooner or later. In this case, the price continued downwards quite a lot before it turned, but it could have been way sooner. So if you see a thing like that in a downtrend, you don't want to go too crazy with your shorts. What you want to do is rather search for a place where to quit your short trade. Now, especially if you look at delta, in this case, it's pretty crazy. Look at that. Price is moving downwards and delta is in green numbers, which means buyers are entering in this area, in this downwards movement. Now this is something. This combined with the unfinished business in here should be a big warning for you, and you should be looking for a place to quit the short. Now this is the last example. Again, you can see that the unfinished business is working as a magnet. In this case, this is sort of a rotation. Price is just making its way in a sideways movement. And all those unfinished businesses are covered pretty quickly. So this unfinished business gets covered in here. This unfinished business gets covered in here. This gets covered in here. And there's also some older unfinished business which gets covered in here. Alright, so that's for the unfinished businesses. It's pretty useful to watch. It's pretty useful to have those lines on in your charts. It's pretty useful to watch them and keep an eye on them. They don't work as a standalone strategy, but they are definitely helping in decision-making process. Alright, so that's about this video, guys. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.